Hello students. Today we are going to discuss one more lecture. In the last lecture we were discussing about the WBCs, we were discussing about the RBCs. उसके बाद जो third cell जो formed elements में that's called platelet. तो platelet भी हम discuss करेंगे और आज एक important topic हम discuss करने जा रहे हैं that's blood coagulation. That's blood coagulation. अब ये जो blood coagulation क्या होती है? Blood coagulation में हम देखेंगे बहुत सारे इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स हम इसमें लर्न करेंगे is a very lengthy process. We say that the immune cells like WBCs, they act as the cells of defense. They provide us defense mechanism. Like by clotting or coagulation, this is also a type of the defense mechanism which is performed by the blood cells like platelets and the enzymes which are associated with which are helping with along with these platelets. राइट तो पहले हम देखेंगे इसकी डेफिनेशन पहले हम क्लियर करेंगे कि ब्लड कोगुलेशन क्या होती है। ब्लड कोगुलेशन के बहुत सारे बुक्स अपने तरीके से इसको डिफाइन करते हैं, बहुत सारे तरीके। पहली बात, इट इज द डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म। अगर पहले हम बताएंगे ब्लड कोगुलेशन इट्स अ डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म, इट्स अ डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म मैकेनिज्म इट्स अ डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म, एक डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म है जिसमें क्या होता है, इसमें जो है वी हैव इसमें we have the hemostasis. Stasis means stop, hemo means blood. It's not homostasis. It's a defense mechanism in which there is hemostasis, जहां पे blood stop हो जाता है। ठीक है, blood stops by a defense mechanism। और इसमें क्या है, in which finally an insoluble fibrinogen is converted into the soluble fibrinogen is converted into the insoluble fibrin। ब्लड में जो फिब्रिनोजन इज अ क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर, एक क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर होता है, ये सॉल्युबल होता है and it is being converted into insoluble fibrin, and this conversion of the soluble fibrinogen into the insoluble fibrin is called as blood coagulation. So it is a defense mechanism, a hemostatic जिसमें blood stop हो जाता है and in which the final step is that a soluble fibrinogen is converted into the insoluble fibrin. तो इसको हम लर्न करेंगे। देखो इसमें जो ब्लड में वी हैव द टू थिंग्स, टू एंटिटीज, वन इज ब्लड प्लाज्मा एंड सेकंड है ब्लड सेल्स। ब्लड प्लाज्मा जो है, ये जो ब्लड, दिस ब्लड कोगुलेशन, इट्स अ प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ ब्लड प्लाज्मा। The most important thing we have to learn that it is the property of blood plasma, not the property of the RBCs, not the property of WBCs. Platelets do help passively in the coagulation, but it is the function of the plasma. जब हमने प्लाज्मा किया था, पढ़ा था, वहां पे हमने बताया था कि अगर हम प्लाज्मा से क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर बाहर निकालेंगे तो वहां पे जो बचता मटेरियल, दैट सीरम की प्रॉपर्टी नहीं होती है कोगुलेशन, सीरम की प्रॉपर्टी नहीं होती है क्लॉटिंग, ये होती है प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द plasma. It's a property of not exactly the cells of blood. Blood cells formed elements की property is a property of blood plasma. So what actually happens in the blood coagulation? इसमें timely there is the stoppage of cessation of the blood, of the bleeding from the wound, from the injury, from the bruise. So if there is a cut in a blood vessel, अगर blood vessel पे कहीं पे cut है, if there is a situation of trauma, the situation of any injury, bruises in the body, with some time the blood bleeding, it stops, blood stops bleeding. So this is technically called as coagulation. उसको coagulation, बहुत सारी terms हैं, हम पढ़ेंगे thrombus, हम पढ़ेंगे clot, हम पढ़ेंगे embolus, बहुत सारे terms इसके साथ relate है। with time with lecture हम उसको clear करेंगे। लेकिन blood coagulation जो है, it is if we take the simple analogy, the blood coagulation, suppose if there is the tire में puncture हुआ, if there is a puncture in the tire, so the tire industries from the Japan in the 1930s, they were thinking that कि ये जो blood है, if it gets punctured, so what happens, all the air will be lost from the tire. They were thinking that if there is the puncture in the tire, there must be some auto sealing mechanism. If there is a puncture, outside puncture in the tire, the air should not be flown out. It should not get lost in the seconds. There should be some auto sealing mechanism कि ये जो एयर है, ये जहां पे इंजर हुआ ये टायर, ये एयर बाहर नहीं निकलना चाहिए. There must be some auto sealing. In 1970s, one more discovery that is added in the tire industry, that is they were using the tubes were used. So later on, then there were tires which were the tubeless tires. In the 90s, 80s, there were tubeless tires. So finally, these industries, these factories are still trying that. We just build those tires if there is the injury in the tire, if there is a puncture in the tire, it should be auto sealed. It's not it's not with time we have the tubeless tires, after some time all the air is being lost. Now the scientists are working on this, that there must be auto sealing where there is the cut in the tire, where there is injury, where there is a puncture in the tire, it should be auto sealer. They are not able to perform this, but nature has thought it from the time immemorial, from the word go, that if there is a puncture in the human beings, if there is a puncture in the animals, hey, there is a property auto sealing, that's blood coagulation. That's blood coagulation. Now we have a scientist, उसका नाम था मैकफरलैन. उसका नाम था मैकफरलैन. मैकफरलैन actually he was learning about अगर ये जो blood है, it's a fluid, it's a water like substance inside the body. अगर ये blood body के अंदर होता है तो ये clot नहीं होता, ये coagulate नहीं होता है. So what is the reason? We know that कि ब्लड जो है ये सर्कुलेट सिस्टम में ब्लड वेसल्स में चलता है, आर्टरीज में चलता है, वेन्स में चलता है, कैपिलरीज में चलता है, हार्ट इसको पंप करता है. लेकिन ये जो हार्ट का जो फिजिकल एक्शन, ये पंपिंग, हाँ, इसका इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर सिर्फ ब्लड होता हमारी बॉडी में, अगर ये पंप सर्कुलेट नहीं किया जाता, पंप किया नहीं जाता, ये एक जगह रुक जाता, सो इट कैन गेट क्लॉट. सो सर्कुलेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. If we answer this question, why does not blood gets clotted, blood clot क्यों नहीं होता inside the body? First answer जो है, blood जो continuous pump करता है, it circulates the blood in our body. This circulation does not allow the blood to get clot inside the body. This is a physical disturbance जिसको हम बोलते हैं, जो ये जो must है circulation, उसकी वजह से clot नहीं होगा. दूसरी वजह है, हम बोलते हैं कि अगर हम आर्टरी वेन को देखेंगे कि इसका जो ल्यूमन है, कंड्यूट इसका ल्यूमन बेटा जो है, इसके थ्रू जो ब्लड जब चलता है, the internal lining of these blood vessels is called as endothelium. Endothelium. पहले हम बताते थे कि endothelium is just the internal lining of these blood vessels. Endothelium is just the internal lining of these blood vessels. Today we say that endothelium, which lines internally arteries and capillaries, that is the very important, that's a very important lining, very important biologically active lining, which secrete some chemicals, जो कुछ protein secrete करते हैं, कुछ chemicals secrete करते हैं, and which are anticoagulants. So what is anticoagulant? Anticoagulant is that chemical substance which does not allow blood to get clot, to get coagulate inside the body, inside the blood circulation. That's called anticoagulant. The famous anticoagulant we learned, that is the heparin. बॉडी के अंदर हेपेरिन होता है, that is secreted by the mast cells. Mast cells secrete करते हैं हेपेरिन, by the connective cells present in the mast cell वो secrete करते हैं. लिवर भी हेपेरिन को प्रोड्यूस करता है, तो that is an anticoagulant है. ठीक है. अब ये जो एंडोथेलियम है, it produces like anticoagulants like in the form of NO, nitrous oxide. It produces PG. Yeah, we can write it the prostaglandins, type second, prostaglandins, or these are actually called as prostaglandins type second. They are called prostacyclins. Endothelium secretes nitrous oxide. Endothelium secretes prostacyclins. They are the prostacyclins. These are chemicals which are produced by the endothelium, which does not allow the blood to get clotted inside the blood vessel, inside the blood vessel. Now, when this blood vessel gets cut, gets injured, gets bruised, now it gets cut here. So the substances which are present inside the blood, they actually now change the course of their function, change the course of their physiological function. Now what actually happens? What actually happens? Macfarlane gave a theory. According to Macfarlane, there are 13 clotting factors. There are 13 clotting factors which perform in a cyclic way, which perform in a proper way and performs this blood coagulation. अब ये जो blood clotting factor है वो हमें याद भी करने, वो हमें memorize भी करने पड़ेंगे. They are being named as clotting in the Roman numerals, clotting first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. We just name them. For example, number first, that is fibrinogen. It's also named as the clotting factor first. Prothrombin, number second. Number third, that's thromboplastin. Number fourth, that's calcium, two positive calcium ions. So calcium is very important for blood coagulation. It's a very important ion. It's important for the blood coagulation. We have to remember. We have the proacceleratin. That's called labile factor. We have acceleratin. We have proconvertin. That's also called stable factor. Antihemophilic factor A, antihemophilic factor B. This is also called as Christmas factor. It was the patient जिसका नाम था क्रिसमस, उसमें बीमारी देखी गई. That's why it's called a Christmas factor. We will learn in the 12th class this hemophilia. It's a genetic disorder. Stott-Prower factor, antihemophilic factor C, Hageman factor, fibrin stabilizing factor, and that's also called Lacy-Laurent factor. These are 13 factors which are very important, which work in a coordinated way. And when there is a cut, when there is an injury, when there is a type of trauma, they work in a proper, in a coordinated way, and they perform blood coagulation and they perform blood clotting. Now these factors, they work as a cascade, a collection of these factors is called as cascade. That was actually Macfarlane's cascade theory. According to Macfarlane, there's a cascade of these enzymes. There is a cascade of these proteins. And one more important thing: these factors, these clotting factors, they are produced by liver. They are produced by liver. Liver इनको produce करता है. तो liver इनको produce करता है. And remember, every student knows that the clotting factors, they are not activated factors. They are actually called sleeping proteins of coagulation. These 13 proteins, they are called sleeping proteins, sleeping coagulating proteins of coagulation. They are being activated at the time of injury. They are being activated at the time of injury in a proper, in a cascade way, in a proper coordinated way, which was told by the Macfarlane. जो Macfarlane ने कहा था. They are produced by the liver. Every student knows that they are produced in the liver, but there are some stored in some platelets. The platelets में इनको store किया जाता है. They are stored in the platelets. इनको platelet में store किया जाता है. तो उसके बाद जो हैं, तो हम देखेंगे कि there are some important जो हम discuss करेंगे with respect to the our syllabus, जो हम discuss करेंगे, जो बहुत important reactions हैं. Like there is inactivated thromboplastin. We know it is a factor 3. It's inactivated thromboplastin. A protein. It's an enzyme. Thromboplastin. It is inactivated. It has been activated. First step, I can write here that this thromboplastin is been activated. It has been activated by thrombokinase. Thrombokinase is one more enzyme that activates. So there is an activated form of thromboplastin. Activated form of thromboplastin. उसके बाद this thrombokinase converts. Now we have the thromboplastin thrombokinase complex. It activates prothrombin into activated thrombin. Prothrombin into activated thrombin. ये जो बेटा prothrombin यहाँ पे factor second है, clotting factor second, that is the prothrombin. It has been activated. You can simply remember by thrombokinase or the thrombokinase thromboplastin complex. it converts prothrombin into thrombin. So what is thrombin? Thrombin is an activated from prothrombin. Now this thrombin is a very important clotting factor. Now this thrombin, ये क्या करता है? It now converts here. We have one more important factor here, that is the fibrinogen. So fibrinogen is converted finally into fibrin, into fibrin, into fibrin. Now this fibrinogen, it also requires thrombin. सबसे important, इसको thrombin बेटा चाहिए. Thrombin activate हो गया. Now fibrinogen has been converted into fibrin in presence of thrombin, and it also requires calcium 2 positive. It also requires calcium 2 positive. Calcium भी चाहिए. So these enzymes, they work in a proper way. They will help these reactions to occur. Now finally there is a conversion of fibrin. देखिए बेटा, when there is an injury, जब यहाँ पे जख्म लग गया, कट आ गया इधर, what is going to happen? यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा? यहाँ पे जो है, पहले यहाँ पे थ्रोम्बिन एक्टिवेट हो गया, प्लेटलेट एक्टिवेट हो गया, टिश्यू थ्रोम्बोप्लास्टिन आ गया, सारा कुछ यहाँ पे आ गया, फैगोसाइटोसिस भी यहाँ पे, सेल्स आ जाएंगे यहाँ पे. What is going to happen? Now जो पे फिब्रिन बन जाएगा, it will form a mesh. It will form a mesh. And in that mesh, what happens? The platelets gets entrapped. So platelets जमा हो जाएंगे. And sometimes when we remove the clot, when clot को उठाएंगे, there are some blood is oozing out from that clot. Beneath that clot, that some RBCs also get trapped, some WBCs also get trapped in that clot, because now this fibrin is insoluble in blood, whereas fibrinogen was soluble. जो हमने पहले discuss किया था, it now surrounds this blood. It now plugs here to all the blood which is flowing in this blood vessel. Say this is the artery, say this is the vein. Vein में यहाँ पे इंजरी आ गई, तो यहाँ पे जो है फिब्रिन एक नेटवर्क सा बन गया. तो नेटवर्क बेटा बन गया, तो यहाँ पे इट्स नॉट इनसॉल्युबल, इट्स नॉट सॉल्युबल. सो जो यहाँ पे स्ट्रक्चर बना, जिसमें कुछ क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स हैं, जिसमें WBC है, जिसमें RBC है. तो RBC है और वहाँ पे बेटा प्लेटलेट भी है. ठीक है, पहले बना प्राइमरी, जिसको हम पढ़ते हैं प्राइमरी प्लेटलेट प्लग, सेकेंडरी प्लेटलेट प्लग, प्लेटलेट एग्रीगेशन, बहुत सारे टर्म्स हैं. दे गेट एंट्रैप्ड फाइनली इनटू द फिब्रिन. ये फिब्रिन एंट्रैप हो जाता है एंड ब्लड स्टॉप्स ओजिंग. ब्लड बाहर नहीं आ जाएगा, ब्लड बाहर नहीं आएगा, एंड दिस स्ट्रक्चर इज कॉल्ड एज क्लॉट. दिस इज कॉल्ड ब्लड क्लॉट. इसको हम बोलेंगे ब्लड क्लॉट. And this process is called as blood clotting, and this is called as blood coagulation. उसको बेटा blood coagulation बोलते हैं. देखिए बेटा, अगर ये जो ब्लड क्लॉट बना, ये बॉडी के बाहर बना, the structure, the aggregation of the blood platelets along with fibrin, along with those clotting factors which are now there insoluble, जो वहां पे है, this is called as clot. इसको क्लॉट बोलेंगे. तो क्लॉट क्या करता है? क्लॉट को ब्लड जो बाहर नहीं जाने देगा. ये इंजरी बचाता, इंजरी जब हो जाएगी, ब्लड जो ooze से, उससे बचाता, oozing out से बचाता है. Now if the clot, God forbid, from inside the blood vessel, in an active, not damaged blood vessel, if it is formed inside the blood vessel, anywhere, that is not called as blood clot. That's called as thrombus. उसको बेटा बोलते हैं thrombus. That's called as thrombus. So thrombus, clot is formed outside, thrombus is formed inside the blood vessel. तो that disease is called as thrombosis. बेटा इसके बाद जो है सर्कुलेशन में हमें बीमारियां हैं, जो हम स्टडी करेंगे, लर्न करेंगे उसके बारे में, वहां पे हम एक बीमारी पढ़ेंगे, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज थ्रोम्बोसिस. उसको बेटा बोलते हैं थ्रोम्बोसिस. अगर ये जो है एग्रीगेशन ऑफ द ब्लड प्लेटलेट्स and the clot is formed, अगर बेटा ये जो clot है, if clot is formed inside the blood vessel, an active blood vessel, functional blood vessel, that's not called as clot, that's called as thrombus, and that disorder is called as thrombosis. We will learn a disorder that's called as coronary thrombosis. So the blood circulation of heart is called as coronary circulation. अगर खुदा न खास्ता, God forbid, वहां पे अंदर की तरफ वो clot बन गया, we call this as thrombus. The thrombus may sometimes get circulated. It may get circulated inside the blood circulation. अगर ये stuck हुआ, अटक गया in the coronary artery, that's called as coronary thrombosis. So coronary thrombosis बोलते हैं, that can cause a swift and instant death. इंस्टेंट हार्ट अटैक आ सकता है उसकी वजह से, जो हम लर्न करेंगे थ्रोम्बोसिस में। याद रखना है थ्रोम्बोसिस तब होगा व्हेन देयर इज अ क्लॉट फॉर्म इनसाइड द बॉडी, इनसाइड द बॉडी। क्लॉट बनना बॉडी के बाहर, दैट्स अ नॉर्मल फंक्शन, वो उसको होना है। अगर अंदर बन गया, गॉड फॉरबिड, दैट कैन कॉज द डेथ, उससे डेथ हो सकती है, ठीक है। उसके बाद जो है लास्ट में, अगर ये थ्रोम्बस ना इट स्टार्ट मूविंग, सर्कुलेटिंग इन द ब्लड वेसल्स, अभी मूव हो रहा है एक जगह से दूसरी जगह से मूव हो रहा है इन द ब्लड वेसल्स, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एम्बोलस। उसको एम्बोलस बोलते हैं, AMBOLUS, एम्बोलस। एम्बुलस इज द सर्कुलेटिंग थ्रोम्बस, जो है ये बॉडी में जो है जो सर्कुलेट होगा, वो भी हम पढ़ेंगे। कॉरोनरी एम्बोलिज्म, एम्बोलिज्म, थ्रोम्बोसिस हम लर्न करेंगे अगर ये बॉडी के बाहर बन गया। नॉर्मली ये जो है इंजरी के टाइम बनता है, तो स्टॉप द ब्लीडिंग, ब्लीडिंग स्टॉप हो जाती है, दैट्स अ डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म, दैट्स अ प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म ऑफ द बॉडी, एंड दिस इज हाउ द blood clotting occurs, and we have to learn these steps, we have to learn these factors. So inshallah in next time we will discuss about the blood groups and blood typing.